Hey guys, welcome to Elroy's vlog number 2. If you listened to the last one, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, I want to be able to keep my channel alive and just keep putting content out, whether it's the vlogging, any of the short films that I've finished, the teasers that go along with it. And yeah, so the last time I had mentioned my podcast, I forgot to say the name. It's Embrace the Image Podcast. You can listen to it on Anchor, which is where I do my podcast on using my phone. Check it out if you want to do your own podcast. It's so easy. You can listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, and so many of the other podcast apps that you can listen to it. So check it out. Embrace the Image Podcast. I'm going to have a new episode perhaps this week. Chatting with Creatives episode is something that I'm looking forward to do on the podcast. I had mentioned there was something I wanted to do with my videos on YouTube, and I only got as far as 2 episodes. I didn't get to do any other Chatting with Creatives episodes because of COVID and just people's schedules. So I just did it on my podcast. Figured you don't have to meet up with the person, just send them a link that you're able to connect onto the podcast and talk that way. It's so awesome. So again, if you want to do your own podcast, check it out. Mine again is Embrace the Image Podcast. So yeah, I wanted this episode to focus on one of my films, A Hitman's Silence, chapters 1, 2, and 3, or A Hitman's Silence shorts trilogy is what I call it. And the reason why I'm starting with A Hitman's Silence is because I just put out the 3rd one, which I'm really proud of. And I just wanted to go into discussion of each film, how I got them made, what was the process, the technology that I used, which was a phone, right? The tech that I used rather, which was my iPhone, and iMovie app, and we'll get into that. I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, let's start with the first Hitman's Silence film. That film started because of another short film, which I will talk about in another vlog. It's called The Dark Edge, and that one was a bit of a task to get done, with the equipment that I had. And I don't have a lot of equipment, but what I was able to do and how to use it, I was fortunate enough to have the actors, the people I knew, friends that would also be not just actors, but secondhand unit, whether it's boom, pole, and camera holding and whatnot. But yeah, that's the story for another day. So the way that started, Hitman's Silence, was because of that film. I was close to not making any more films. That was the decision, and I wanted to do something that was easy to get done. And I had in mind a silent film. Silent films were something that I was interested in doing eventually in time, and it was just the perfect moment. Just starting to say, hey, I'm gonna get back into filming, but let me do something that's easy, simple, and doesn't require a lot of the sound technicalities, which is pretty much the main issue for the last film. But I was like, I want something that's just a silent film, and I had this idea that also I had the Filmic Pro app on the iTunes store that I was just looking for on video apps, and I found Filmic Pro, and I saw that I can do the aspect ratio to widescreen. You can choose different aspect ratios, and I saw a widescreen format, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I just had the idea that I'm going to take this widescreen format, I'm going to film using the Filmic Pro app on my iPhone, and it's going to be a silent film. And I just came up with the idea, it's nothing unique, but an idea of a bounty hunter, or a hitman rather, kind of based off of The Dark Edge, which my character was a hitman, but this character, completely different. He's a hitman, and his wife dies, and he doesn't want to be a hitman anymore. He just has nothing going for him. He's about to commit suicide until his boss hits him up for one last job, but it turns out that job isn't something that the character that I played, which is Marcus, he doesn't want to do it. He's like, I can't believe you would ask me to do that after kill his wife. His boss was like, kill my wife. He's like, I can't believe you're asking me to do that after my wife was, killed. And because he doesn't want to do it, the boss gets upset. He's like, oh, really? Makes a phone call, and things take a turn for the worse. It doesn't all pan out that way, really, because again, it's a silent film. you have the subtitles, and the way I did that, the subtitles are on the screen, next to the video, the characters' faces. I switched that in the other two films where it's on the bottom of the widescreen, so you have that dialogue portion there, and I thought which was better because it was a bit of a struggle for the other two films to kind of get that white subtitles onto the screen when there's already like white, because it's a white, black and white film, silent era, which is the option that I chose, filter, for on the iMovie app to get that silent film look. So I realized, I can just move the dialogue into the widescreen at the bottom, and I kept it that way for the next two films. But yeah, it was just something that I wanted to do, a silent film, and I'm like, I'm going to have the story, this is what it's going to be. I just need a few actors, and I was going to get it done. And I was fortunate enough to get, my friends to be a part of it. I had Francisco Ramos, who's an actor. He's been acting for a while, and he's acted in The Dark Edge with me. I first met him in my very first short film, which he was the murderer of my wife in that film, and he ends up being the murderer of the physical, anyway, like killing the wife of my character in The Hitman Silence. But of course, we work for the same boss, and the boss had him do it. So I just spoiled the first movie for you guys in that. But yeah, the way I played it out was just, the scenes and how I just used my phone, and I would get B-roll and then edit it, with the transitions. And I did use sound effects for, like the stab sounds and music. I was in Compotech.com, royalty-free music. You give crediting where credit's due. And I found some great music, and I was able to edit that all together. Some sound effects, as like when there's like a surprise, like that look if you've seen it already, or if you haven't seen it, when you go, it'll be like the on the eyes, and I'll have like a sound effect to give that tension. That was something that I played with, so it's not like your typical silent film, but it is a silent film because there is no sound other than music, sound effects for like stab sounds, or like to enhance like a shocking moment. But I was really surprised with how it felt like a silent movie with the music and the shots, and just the editing was so much fun, and it was easy. I was able to edit it on my phone before transferring it onto my laptop with Final Cut Pro to add, all that other, sound, the sound effects, all that other stuff. And it was just something that I was happy with, after that last editing fiasco, and, The Dark Edge, which it was 30 minutes. I'm just talking about it. Yeah, it was my longest short film at 30 minutes, and it was probably the biggest team that I've had of actors. It's something that I just had in mind. It just kind of like go off shooting without having the script there. I mean, there was a story, it just wasn't unique, I guess is the best way to say it. Other than the ending, I think the ending was a great twist. But what really bothered me was the sound effects and the quality of the video look. I mean, I think sound is very important when it comes to filming. Not as much video, but in this case it was both. I had a Canon. Canon is trash for low level light, and then sound is just once you get the sound engineer and all that, it's gonna be a hassle. But in time, I was able to find some equipment that I was able to, from doing something on my own and not having all these other hands to like assist, you can play with it. It may not be 100%, but it's definitely a lot better than what I did back in the days with just the camera, connect the mic, and then shoot. So that's what the Dark Edge was about, and it was just a lot of nights where I was just staying up editing, and I had to go to work, and I was working 2 jobs. But yeah, I'll just say that. But again, I'll talk more on that. But that's kind of what influenced Hitman Silence, so it's hard not to talk about the film. But yeah, so Hitman Silence, it was supposed to be a one and done silent film. I did my first silent film. I'm pleased with what I was able to create. Again, I had my friends in it, Frankie Ramos. Also, I had Samantha Herrera. If you don't know the name, if you've seen her in other projects, I was with her in The Hourglass with James Perry. That was a film that he directed and produced and executive produced. But that's how I met her in an audition. And I remember when I first met Samantha, I'm like, she looks familiar. And it turns out she's from Iron Fist. She was in 2 episodes of Iron Fist. She was, I believe, the nurse who got, was it Jessica Chastwick? Is that the actress name? The one of the mains, who got her captured. Like, she lied on her and she got her caught. So that's where she was from. And I remembered, and I thought that was cool. We were just at Philly for a project for the Hourglass. And in Philly, I was like, hey, by the way, I would like you to be a part of this silent short film that I'm in. You don't have to do anything other than smile as if, we're together and you're having fun. And it's just her. I'm not in it, just her. I used it as flashbacks. And, I was able to grab that footage and her just like walking away. Like she's leaving and then walking away for another scene, which was the reveal of the murderer who killed her. And she continued on for the next 2 films. The second film was it was pretty much the first film's footage, but the third film, I was able to have her record herself again for a specific moment of what happens in the ending of the film. So, but yeah, I was able to get her and Francisco Acevedo, who plays the boss character. He's not an actor. We worked together at Banana Republic a couple of years ago, and he was just down to be a part of it. He didn't have to act. You would speak the words, but it's a silent film. All that other stuff is covered. Just give me the facial expressions, I told him, and he was able to do it, and I loved what he did. I thought it was cool. His first project, he never did a film, and I was able to grab him for another short film, Aphrodite, which I'll talk about that. I won't get into it, but I was able to grab him for that. And yeah, we made magic. It was just pretty much me, Francisco, Samantha, and Frankie. Yeah, Frankie is Francisco, but we call him Frankie, so it was 2 Franciscos technically. But yeah, Frankie and Frankie Ramos, Francisco Acevedo, and Samantha Herrera, and myself, and that was the first Hitman Silence. Just that story coming together about this hitman who's about to off himself, and he doesn't, he decides that he realizes when he gets the message from his boss to do his job, he doesn't want to do it, and he's a target now that he's like, I'm gonna go get revenge now that I know what I know. And that was supposed to be the film only. And one of the festivals that I went to, it was the Grove Film Festival, when it had gotten selected, and I was there to watch the films, and my film was being shown. I'm just watching it, as and as I would, because it's my film, I'm there, and even though I've seen it so many times, but I'm watching it, and I'm like really invested, because one, it's something that I really cared about, and it meant a lot to me as a filmmaker, and what I was able to create with just my iPhone. And it really gave me that push to say, hey, I want to create another one. Like, this was fun. And during watching the film festival of my particular movie, because obviously I want to pay attention to every other films that were there, I was already writing in my head the second movie. And then I had already titled it Chapter 2, Hitman Silence Chapter 2. And I was just already going off of, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what it's going to be about. And at the time, I was working at another Banana Republic as a leader, and I was able to get another coworker to be a part of it, who was not an actor, but he was down to be a part of the films because he saw my projects. And he saw Hitman Silence, the first one, and he was like, yeah, I'm down for the second one. I don't have to really act. I mean, I'm going to act, but I don't really have to worry about speaking because it's going to be silent. I was able to grab him and pretty much 2 other people that I worked with in the same company, and we were able to create this film, Hitman Silence Chapter 2, which was much more smaller, contained film. But I was fortunate enough to get an idea of how to expand that first film that led to the second one. And I did it, and it's probably my least favorite. It's my least, I think I mentioned it in the first one. It's my least favorite of the 3, but it is, I would say it was necessary. to continue the story of my character into the third chapter. But yeah, I had Armando. He was a Gennaro character. He was pretty much the right hand man of my boss from the first movie, who got me captured. He gets me captured by he has his one of his henchmen do the job to capture me, played by Louis, and it was awesome. I worked with him in another film, Mission Ex Lover. Again, that's another film for another day. And he doesn't act, but it's just cool to. What I'm saying is, it's cool to get people that don't act have that the desire, I guess, to be a part of something, or even just to help you, and like, oh, you need something, this seems fine, like, just to get people to be able to join you. And that was cool. Louis is a good guy. You should hear him in karaoke. He's the nicest guy you can ever meet, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have met him. And thank you, Louis, again for that. Your portrayal and The Hitman's Silence. I had so much fun, and I'm glad you had fun. At least I hope you had fun. Don't lie to me. And then I had Catalina, who I worked with. She was another character that was a henchman. Not an actor, but was able to be a part of the film, and we were able to just come up with this, this chapter 2 that I originally was gonna leave it at that. I was chapter 2, and I wasn't happy with it as much because I'm like, it just feels like I can expand more. Really, I like what I was able to do, where it went, but I just felt like there was missing something, and I guess that's because in the first one I was able to have all these other locations and transitions, and it was unique to me. And then the second one, it was more of a self-contained story, and I was just gonna leave it at that, though. On YouTube, not a lot of views for a lot of my films. I think my most viewed is like 800 and something. That might be The Dark Edge, actually. But yeah, it was just I figured, I guess I won't do another one. No one's really watching it, but I will take the blame for that because I don't really promote as well as I should. But what really changed that for me to make a third one was quarantine. The whole COVID thing. I wasn't making anything. I had a lot of ideas that I was writing down, and I'm like, but I can't film anything. It's hard to get people together in a room, this and that. So I was like, well, what can I do? And I was like, well, I have my iPhone. I can create. Mike Medina, who, if you don't follow him on Instagram, follow him. He's just like me, an independent producer, actor, writer, and he creates his own thing. And one day he just put like sketches on his he did sketches on his phone, and he just put it out there, or I guess on his camera, but he just put sketches and he just put it out there. And I'm like, damn, I'm missing something. I'm missing filming. And he was like, yeah, just create, man. Just have an idea, whatever, just create. You don't have to wait for anybody, which is pretty much why I create my own films. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. And I didn't get to do it until months later in January, which is when I had the idea for A Hitman's Silence Chapter 3, which was something I was already playing with last year, around October. I wasn't going to do a third one, but I still had like, what if? But January really hit me like, I want to get this film done. And also because I wasn't satisfied with ending it at just the second one. So the way the third one worked, the third one's the only one that didn't have a script. It was pretty much all up here. I would get my actors, tell them this is what you're gonna say, and then I'll just edit it into my iMovie and Final Cut Pro. For that one, the Chapter 3, I was able to get Armando back as Gennaro. I was able to get Lena Zenecker as Bree, and I worked with Lena in a few projects, and I got her from Germany to do that scene for me. She downloaded Filmic Pro, did the aspect ratio, widescreen, sent it to me, and I was able to use that from Germany. Like, she did need to be here to get that scene done, so I thought that was pretty cool. I was able to get my brother to be a part of it in the beginning. I was home, he was home, and I'm like, yeah, I want to create something. Let's just fool around. And it was fun. We had fun, and I think the first time I got him to do a project that's mine, so that was pretty cool. I got Armando back for Gennaro character, which was great. So it was good to get people back, the same actors especially. So I got him to do more, which was fun, and I just spoke to him about it. He said it's a solid film. He was happy with it. I think I really love Chapter 3. I'm really happy with it as well. I got also Miguel Mike Medina, who I mentioned. He's somebody I've been wanting to work with. I've been wanting to work with, and I got to work with him on this project. And his character, without spoiling anything, it really like solidifies like a full circle with how it ends. The each film, the Hitman Silence idea of the character in the films, and I don't know if I want to do a fourth one. I'm leaving it at 3. It's perfect at 3, but I mean, I know there's a way that I can do a fourth one. So we'll see. Again, maybe I'll just come up with another silent short film because it's so easy to do. It doesn't have to be a Hitman Silence. But yeah, that's something that I'm just grateful. It's one of my favorite pieces that I've done. And I've done a few projects, short films, but I can say the Hitman Silence Shorts trilogy is one of my top 3 favorites to have done. And right now it's going through festival submissions. Well, the Hitman Silence Chapter 3 will be going to its festival run. So I'm just waiting for the official selections from the festivals that I've submitted to, or awards, online awards that I've submitted to. If it gets selected, we'll see. I'm just waiting. But yeah, I'm a little sketchy about the awards, online awards portions of these fests. But I did submit to a few. But there are a lot of other options out there that are legit, and some that I've been to that I've submitted and were selected. And it's like, if you selected the first 2 Hitman Silence, you have to select the third one. I believe the first one was nominated for Best Short, and the second was nominated for Best Concept. So we'll see about the third one, and hopefully third time's the charm and there's a win for an award there. But yeah, if you want to make a film, use your phone. Silent film, you want to try that, you have the iMovie app. It's easy to edit, don't have to worry about sound, and just make it happen, make magic, make your own silent film. But yeah, Hitman Silence Chapters 1, 2, and 3. If you haven't seen it, on my YouTube channel, check it out, like it, dislike it, leave a comment, let's chat about it. I think they're really unique. The music that I've chosen, that's one of the things that I like. If I don't get somebody to do the music, pay someone to do the music, I use royalty-free music. And being able to look for music for my films is one of the joys of editing. I love being able to look for music that I feel like works for a film, and it's so much out there to choose from, so much music. And it's funny because you'll watch a film of other people's films and you'll be like, oh, I know that sound or that music, and it's like, because it's royalty free, other people use it. So I've heard music that I've used in other projects, which is pretty cool. Even B-roll, there was a B-roll that I used that was free, and one day, the same festival actually, my film finishes, okay, the next film is playing, and like the same B-roll of West 4th Street is shown. So that's pretty funny. But excuse me, I'm over here talking and not even stopping, so it's kind of getting to me. But yeah, Hitman Silence, man, it was a much needed task for me after the last Dark Edge, when I had done that, not having to worry too much with the editing because it was just so easy and simple, and I just needed my phone. I didn't need anyone to hold the camera. You can get your tripods, but like with my phone, I was able to like lean it on something to kind of capture like a master shot, or just like a wide shot in general. So yeah, it's one that I'm pleased with, and I'm so excited that I was able to finish this story for the most part and put it out there. And if you can like check it out, it's on my channel. Please do it. I really enjoyed making these films, and just my friends, the actors, being a part of it. It was just it was great. It's great to be able to work with people that and they do the same for the most part. I think the only one that really did does the acting, right, really is Frankie Ramos and Samantha Herrera and Lena Zenecker. Everyone else was, they're not actors, but they did such a great job, and I know they had fun, and I think that's one thing that's great about these films. Just being able to get people that never did acting, or it's just never been a thing, but to join and be a part of it and create something, and it looks good, and they all did a great job. So shout out to everybody on that. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about with my films. That's A Him in Silence, and so many more. I will be vlogging and talking about each and every other film that I've done, along with perhaps reviews. I did see the Justice League Snyder Cut, so that'll be a vlog episode for itself. But yeah, that's something that I want to be able to just, again, like I said, do more of and put out there. So thank you guys for listening, and until next time, later.